What's up everyone, my name is Nux, this is Jinxie, and welcome back to another tutorial on the channel. And today we're going to be talking about these cabinet stashes and how to float items in the air to make it look like they are placed on the shelves in these cabinets. And if you're anything like me and you like to build really law-friendly, scrappy, immersive looking builds like workshops, auto repair shops, garages, factories, etc., then these look really good. Now, in my past videos, someone mentioned in the comments that they couldn't find a tutorial on how to do this. I'm sure there is one out there. I'm sure I've actually seen one somewhere, but even if there's not, then I'm going to do a couple of different, just a couple of different decorative arrays that I think look pretty good with different workbenches. And it's not the most advanced techniques that you use to do this, so a lot of the more experienced builders will already know how to do this, but maybe there's some new builders out there and maybe they've been wondering how to do this and maybe they find this helpful. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so getting straight into it, I've just built this little temporary garage here and I've set up a couple of cabinets that I'll show you at the end, but we're just going to be building one at the far side here. So let's just go over the tools we're going to use quick. We're going to be using the flamethrower, the camp module, and the pressure plate. Now, I'm just going to go over this technique really quick because pretty much everyone knows it by now, at just how to float items and how to drop them down using the pressure plate and the camp module. So if I take this dash box, put it over on this mat, then I grab this mat and I go ahead and put it on the camp module itself. You'll see that when I let it go, it's going to go up a bit. Then when I pick up the mat and put it down again, it's going to slowly float this item up a little bit higher each time. And then obviously the inverse to that is using the pressure plate. If I stand on it and so it goes down a bit, and then I pick this up, put it down, it's going to lower an item. I use a mannequin on the pressure plate. Usually there's a few ways to do this, but I always see church do them some other ways and I can never get it right. So yeah, so pretty much I just use a mannequin to hold that thing down, and then you can raise and lower items like that. So now going over to this stash box, we're going to use this one, the cabinet stash. It's a base plan in the game. I'm just going to put it low like this initially because we're going to decorate the top. So I'm going to go over to stash boxes, grab this suitcase, just put it at a bit of an off angle, put that down over there. Then we can just put some other items. Obviously you guys can use whatever you want here. I'm just going to put this Nuka-Shine keg down, and then I'm going to put a stand down. We'll use this robot one since it is a garage that we're building, and after that we'll just put down like a little figure like this little cappy clapper guy, and after that we're just going to end off. You see, I just put them at different angles, just make it look scrappy and make it look like they were placed there haphazardly, and we're going to end off just with this cooler. So I'm just going to put that at an angle there, and then we're just going to go up to these signs and just put the sign, the food sign, on it like that. Okay, so that is now our decor done on the top of the cabinet. And now I like to use this wallpaper when I'm doing a garage, the mechanic wallpaper I think it's called, and it's got this red line through the middle of it, you see. So I always know that if I line up the legs of the cabinet right on the bottom of that red line like that, that it's going to be pretty much perfect when looking at the decor up by the roof, and it's going to sit just beneath the roof like that. If you use a different wallpaper, just figure it out, and it's not that difficult. It just depends how tall the items are that you're using to decorate the top of your cabinet. So anyway, now we're going to start putting stuff in the shelves. So I do use mats to do this. Obviously with these workbenches here, the chemistry and the weapon one, the mats are hidden, but here you can see the mat there under the tinker's workbench, and you can see that mat under this armor workbench here. So if you're building a scrappy looking garage, I don't think it's a big deal. I even like the way the mats just look like they're thrown under the table there, so I don't really bother with trying to hide them. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start now. So we're going to use two mats to do this. We're going to use this initial gray mat here, and then we're just going to use this little brown doormat as well. And we're just going to start off by putting some items down on this brown mat. So we're going to use the radio here, and you just want to make sure it's not too far off the mat. So you just just test it like that, make sure it's actually on the mat. And then we're just going to go over to our plushies, and we can just put down the balloon animal as well here. And like I say, it looks, when you place it down like this, for example, it's going to look like it's on the mat, but then it's actually not. So just test that and make sure. You might have to just move things around slightly, but just make sure your items all move when you pick up the mat. Now we're going to grab this mat, go over to the cam module, put it down, and I'll start raising it up. And now this is just a process of raising it and then slightly lowering it, or raising it more till it sits perfectly in the cabinet. So you'll see I go test here. Now that's still a little bit low. So if you have a look, if I go ahead and place it down here, you can see that it kind of looks good, but obviously the bottom of the radio is now clipping through the stash box, and you don't want that. So now you've got to readjust, and obviously when you drop it on the camp machine, it's going to drop quite high. So I know that already it's going to be too high, so I'll need like a few more down clicks to get it just right. So I'm gonna lift it once there, drop it twice, and now when I just place it in the cabinet, pretty perfect. Looks like it's nestled on the shelf there and nothing is clipping through. So that's pretty cool. Now let's do a slightly bigger array. We're going to start with this pig. What is this? Pig ears, jar of pig feet, jar of pig, whatever it is. We're just going to put this jar down there, and then we're going to use a plant next to it. So these little succulent cacti things are pretty cool, as long as you don't use the really tall one. Then we'll put another jar of brains next to it. I like these jars because they give off like a faint glow as well, which looks really good in the cabinet. Let's just move these over a little bit, and then we're going to go and use this Crocolosus statue over here. We're just going to put it at an angle so it sort of looks like it's hanging off the end of the shelf. Just like this, but just make sure you actually get these items as close to the items you're using in your back row as possible. Then we want to put this snow globe pretty much in the middle, so we can just move this statue over a little bit, put the snow globe there once again as far back as possible, and then we're just going to end with this incense burner over here on the left. So that's 6 items. That looks pretty cool. You can see it's going to fit. You can always just go test if it's going to fit by holding this up against the cabinet. So now same process, we're going to raise all these items up, and then you'll see like you can just run over and test. I know it's not high enough, try again, raise it a bit more. Now we go test again. Now it's too high, so we've got to drop it. So we're just going to go back, drop this a couple of times, and pretty much just repeat this process until it's perfect. Eventually you get a bit of a feel for it, and it's really not that bad. It's a little bit tedious, but not that bad. So now this looks almost right, and so if I place this here, we can just see, but it's not perfect. You can see the Crocolosus statue clipping through the shelf like that a little bit, and yeah, that just pisses me off. So we're not going to leave it like that. We don't leave stuff like that on this channel, of course not. So we're going to go fix it and just raise it a bit, and then lower it some more times, and just get it completely right so it sits like that. And now all these items look like they are sitting pretty much perfectly on that shelf. So there we go. We've got the items in the shelving now. So what we want to do is add some lights and then a workbench. So we're going to go over and grab this flamethrower on this table. We need it on the table so we can burn this cabinet on the wall. So we're just going to burn this cabinet. I've burnt the walls behind it, but we actually need those. So let's just repair the walls. We just want the cabinet broken. Don't worry about the items there. They can stay fixed. That's fine. But now, as you can see, your top decor is being destroyed with no intersection points because you destroyed the cabinet. So now we can go ahead and put some moonlighting in. I'm going to use the Nixie tube wall lamps. If you don't have these, I highly recommend you get them. Best lighting in the game, in my opinion. And we're just going to slide these in here so that it looks like it's some lighting in the actual cabinets itself. Like the glasses like coming through the top a little bit. So we're just going to put that light in there, and obviously when we repair it, all our top decor is going to reappear, and it's going to be hidden, but it's going to give off some really good light. You can also put lamps in the cabinets like I've done over there. Little tiny lamps are a great thing to add to the decor arrangements as well when using these cabinets. So now we want to put in a workbench, and we're going to leave that cabinet destroyed while we just put this weapons workbench in so that it works. And we're going to get it nice and close to the wall and in the middle like that, and that's going to snap in nicely without a problem. So now we've got our lights, we've got our workbench, we can go ahead and fix everything, and there we go. Looks pretty cool. Now we just need a little bit of decor to end off here. Let's just put some signs on these cabinet doors just to give it a little bit more of a decorated look, and then we're just going to put some of these wall planters, pot plant things on the side here. And then you can also use these wind chimes, and the different variations of the wind chimes also work nicely with these cabinets, but I'm just going to use this default one over here. And then there we go, you are pretty much done with your first cabinet. And now obviously the mat is still going to be at the bottom there and you can see it, but at the end of the day, who really gives a shit about that mat when you've got something that looks like this in the end? Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's jump straight into the second cabinet. So same thing. I'm going to go place this nice and low here so that I can do my decor up top. We'll just mix it up a little bit this time. So we'll put some stash boxes. They always look really good displayed on top of these cabinets. So we're just going to use an ammo box. We'll use this small blue Voltec supply crate thing over there. And now I'm just going to put like a little lantern here. This looks really cool because the light reflects like off the roof above it, and soft lighting always works really well with these sort of workshops. I sometimes try to use only soft lighting throughout because I love how it looks bouncing off the roof and the walls and stuff. So let's just quickly label this ammo box, and there we go. And now the top decor is done. So now we can raise it up, and you see now if you're building multiple cabinets, I want this to be in line with my cabinet on the right there, for example, but I can't because that lantern is intersecting with the roof. It's like just a little bit, see, it just goes into the roof a little bit, so I can't get the feet on the red line, which is how I've been placing these cabinets. So if that happens, it's no big deal. Just go to whatever roof you're using, replace it to an angled roof like that, and then it is obviously going to let you place this thing higher, and you can then line it up perfectly, and then just replace the roof to being flat again, and there we go. That looks fine. So that looks really cool. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to use the radio again. I'll show you what other items I use in the end, but I'm just going to use the radio now quick just because it's quick and easy to place. But obviously you can do whatever you want with these cabinets and use your imagination to put, you know, pretty much whatever you can get into those shelves in there. So I'm just going to put one radio here again, and then I just want to show you why like things like this ship in a bottle are great, because you can put them at a bit of an angle like that, and that ends up looking really good because then it's like sort of sticking out of the cabinet at an angle, and everything is not just sort of flat down in the cabinet itself. So same thing, we're just going to raise this up, just try get it right. We're putting it on the top shelf this time, so just sort of line it up, just keep adjusting it. That's pretty close, just a little bit high, so one more quick adjustment there, and then that is going to end up pretty much being perfect over there, just like that. Right, so now we've got this radio and this ship up here, and what we want to do now is put a weapon in the bottom here. And I saw someone, I think it was on Uranium Fever's channel that I first saw this, but I definitely didn't come up with this. I saw someone do it. I'm sure it was Uranium Fever. And so what we're going to do is, to get the weapon in there, we're just going to destroy the cabinet and then fix the wall again because we need that. And then we're just going to go over here to our over to displays, and pretty much just like just a regular weapons display is what we need. So we're just gonna put this board down here, and then you can use whatever weapon fits in there really, but the Gatling plasma looks really good. So let's just start with that because it sort of fits perfectly. And now you see we're going to try place it in that shelf like that, but it's not going to work. And that's the reason I put the radio and the ship there first, is because I wanted to show you guys that if you do have those there first, it's never going to work. So just remember that if you want to place a weapon, make sure that your items are not in the other shelf before you place it. So now we're just going to move them out the way, and there we go. This is going to line up perfectly and just look like that Gatling plasma is sitting in that shelf. And like I said, I saw it on Uranium Fever's channel and I loved it. So that looks really cool. Now we can just go ahead, grab our mat that has the rest of our items on them, whatever they are, and then just line that up until it's perfect, and then it's just going to sit right above that weapon, and that's all good. Now we want to just quickly put in our lighting and our workbench. So while this is destroyed, Obviously, you can do whatever you want with the lighting here. Blinking lights would be good, you know, mix it up. I'm just going to use this again for now. And now we want to put in a bigger workbench this time. So when I go over to this workbench, like the big weapons one, for example, this would look really cool under this cabinet because these gas tanks are going to sit sort of like right underneath it. But obviously it's going to intersect, so it's not going to work. And yeah, there's nothing you can really do about that. So there's an easy fix. And we're just going to go to this wall, and we're going to replace this wall with the default wooden wall that comes with the game. And the reason for that is when you break it, it's fully broken. There's no remaining like supports in the middle. And now burn that wall, and that'll obviously destroy the cabinet that's on the wall. And now you can just go ahead and line this up and pretty much just place this weapons workbench until you get it perfectly. If you don't get it right the first time, then just keep trying. But that looks pretty perfect. You can test it by just going into your build menu. So the gas tanks are right underneath the cabinet, so that's all good. You can just go ahead and fix everything, and then that looks pretty good. Now we're just gonna, and then all we need here is just a few more touches of decor just to finish off this cabinet. Just some basic signage is pretty much all you need. And once you're done with that, that's this cabinet done, and it's going to end up looking like this. And I really like the way that looks. You guys see what I mean about the mood lighting, like that light bounces off the ceiling and looks really good, especially with the tube lighting coming through the back of the cabinet like that. Less is more in terms of lighting sometimes with this sort of lighting, and the items are in there perfectly. Now I'm just going to quickly go over a few other arrays that I did. This is like a scientific research sort of lab looking array, and what's nice about those jars is they also give off really good lighting, as you can see there, so that also looks cool. Here's another one with this armor workbench. That Snallygaster plushie is pretty awesome to put in cabinets because just his head sticks out there and he works pretty perfectly. And then you can see I've also got a lamp up there which just lights up the whole cabinet as well. And then also you can hang that wind chime off that ammo box at the top there, and that looks pretty good as well. And then finally I've just got this last one with just these two pumpkin heads, and then the Nuka-Cola lamp, and then you can also put that electronic cat there, and you can put something next to it, and when you activate it, it looks like he's swiping it and whatnot. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks very much for watching. If you did enjoy it or found it helpful, please consider subscribing. I do camp builds, camp building tutorials, and machinima, and I have quite a lot of stuff planned for this year. So thanks very much again. I'll see everyone next time. Cheers.